Assalamualaikum. In this video, we all will talk about the short video that we have watched, which is Perkahwinan Mewah. As we all know, every couple wants a luxurious wedding because marriage only happens once in a lifetime, but we should set a wedding budget that we can afford and never go into a debt to start a family with your partner.
Today, I would like to explain about the problem overspending made by Sean and Julia. There are 3 problems that they made for their wedding preparation. The first one is making impulse purchases. Sean and Julia didn't set a budget for their wedding. They buy whatever they want and don't care about not having enough money. They do not frame the which is want and which is a need in their marriage. This is because Sean and Julia want a luxurious wedding because they think that marriage is only once a lifetime. The second problem is can't afford to pay the bills in full. Sean can't afford to pay the phone bills, electricity and water bills, and also the car installments because Sean bought Julia a luxurious car and a bungalow before they got married. Even though Sean knows he can't afford to pay all these bills, so both of Sean's cars were towed because he couldn't afford to pay and he had a lot of debt before he got married. The next problem is Sean and Julia didn't save money. Sean and Julia didn't save any money for their wedding. Julia also did not take out any money and only expected money from Sean alone. Julia also bought whatever she wanted for her dream wedding without thinking about the debt that Sean had to pay.
Now, I'm going to explain the sign of financial difficulties faced by Sean. The first sign is credit card. Sean has been increasing his outstanding balance every month. He also missing bill payments and paying bills late such as telephone bills and utility bills. The next one is loans. Sean has been receiving notice from banks or lenders for non-payment of debt. He also started to borrowing money from family and friends to pay his debts. Sean also keep getting calls from debt collectors regularly. The third sign is savings. Sean have a little or no savings to handle unexpected expenses or emergencies. For example, Sean couldn't pay the monthly car payment, so the bank had to tow his car. The last sign is expenses. Sean does not know how much money he spent until the bills arrive to his house. Sean also keep on arguing with Julia regularly about money. For example, Julia often asks Sean for money to buy things for their wedding preparations without using her own money. So, that's the only financial difficulties that faced by Sean.
As money is a sensitive topic, many couples can go through their entire married life and not talk openly about it with one another. It is extremely important that you and your spouse see eye to eye on money matters. My first thing is your financial plan has to move from being an individual to a shared one involving your spouse. Second thing is decide on how to handle routine bills, paying for the family and children, household budgeting, as well as savings and investment. Third thing is to pay for common expenses, save money on a monthly basis in a joint account. Remember to review the list of the common expenses, often at least once a month, to see if these expenses are increasing due to inflation or your lifestyle as a couple. My next point is if both of you decide to use credit cards to pay for some of the common expenses, it is important that the person who is going to use the credit card have access to the money from the joint account so that there are no complications later in paying the credit card debt. Furthermore, just as in your individual financial plan, you need to set aside an emergency fund as a couple to take care of those unexpected expenses that can happen to you, your spouse and family. Decide on an amount as common savings. Any unused funds can be added to joint retirement fund. My next point is talk about each other's investment style, including your respective risk appetite and preferences. It is wise to have a common investment portfolio to meet future financial goals, such as retiring together and living a comfortable life. These investments are also usually used to pay for your children's living, and education expenses. Last but not least, you may need to increase your insurance coverage, such as life insurance, critical illness insurance, medical insurance, and personal accident insurance. Thank you.
Next, I want to explain about the effects of being bankrupt. The effects of being bankrupt is you cannot hold any public office without the approval of Director General, Malaysia Department of Insolvency. Next, pursue any court action without the Director General's approval. After that, leave the country without the court's or Director General approval. Be a company director or carry out your own business or be involved in the management of a company without the court's or the Director General approval. Be involved in the management of a company or be an employee of a company that is owned by your spouse or close relative and their spouse. And the last is, be a commit member of any registered body. So, the conclusion is, don't be like Sean and Julia who didn't save money for their wedding. Don't imitate Sean who allowed Julia to use his credit card to buy their wedding items that are too expensive and unnecessary. Make preliminary plans before you want to start a household with your partner.